Hello everyone, it's currently April 4th, 2018, and the March 2018 Join Squad recap has just released. I've briefly gone over it, so we're going to go over my first impressions and what cool things OWI is working on. So the first thing that they talk about are AAS ticket bleed tweaks. Now, AAS is in a really weird spot right now because it's really stale, it's really repetitive, the bleed system makes games not really enjoyable, it feels like a meat grinder. And so they've noticed this, they've heard the feedback, and they're going in to tweak how the cap system works and how many tickets you get back, as well as the bleed system and how hard the bleed is. They're trying to balance that back out, and it's good to see that they're paying more attention to AAS, because AAS right now, in my opinion, is my least favorite game mode. I like Invasion, then Insurgency, and then AAS, which is why you don't really see me on the whitelist too much. I now play on the SquadOps.gg 24/7 Invasion server the most. So hopefully they can bring back some of that dynamic, fun gameplay that AAS had felt, or at least before it got really repetitive. Hopefully they can breathe some new life into it. But this is a step in the right direction. So they're fixing how that works. They fixed 3 big bugs in the newest 10.2 patch, which was released I think yesterday night. So what they did was the spawn overrun mechanic. What would happen was if you had a fob surrounded by like 40 enemies, nothing would happen. Which was a bug, because before it would affect your spawn time and disable the fob. And now it does that again, which is good because it counters that meta that you guys know I all hate, which is sticking the habs into buildings and just sitting on the staircases. Now you can overwhelm that fob simply by proximity, and you can then take that building. Whereas before, in version 10, when it got bugged, it was impossible to take these buildings. Squad kit rules that were being force switched has been corrected. Before, in V10, when you had 9 people in a squad and you had a fire roll kit and you suddenly lost a player or 2 in your squad and you dropped down to maybe 6 or 7 players, that player who was actively using one of the fire team kits or fire support kits would lose it while he was playing. So that's been corrected now. And then they fixed an exploit where you could overload the lodges. So good stuff in a 10.2 patch. Really happy that they're doing these minor hot fixes and bug fixes, just because it lets us know that they're working on the game, and it gets rid of a couple of the things that are ruining the quality of life and just some irritating, frustrating things that we deal with as a player base. So those are cool changes. Name tag and squad leader changes. So this doesn't really, wow me too much, but they're changing the name tag things, and you'll notice sometimes when I play, there's so many people, especially on Invasion, crowded into one area. It's hard to see anything because all the name tags start stacking up on top of each other. They block sight lines. You can't see what's going on because these name tags are in the way. So this is a step in the right direction. I still would like a key to press to bring them up and have them off by default. So while I'm normally playing, I don't need to see name tags. But let's say I need to see who that is. I hit a button on my Windows key, and the names come up. I think Arma 3 had this, or Arma 3 Wasteland had this, and it worked really well, where you didn't see any of the name tags by default, and when you wanted to see someone's name, you'd click a button, and the name tags would come on for a second. So I hope eventually that becomes an option, because I really just, it kind of ruins my immersion, and there's no real need for me to see people's names, at least all the time. I think it's not needed, but oh well. Hopefully they add that feature. I can only pray. Map screen UI changes. This is a kind of a big one for me, is seeing who's in vehicles. This is very important because now you can see what squad is in what vehicle, because well, right now in squad, when I'm trying to get control or contact a vehicle, it's I gotta find out who the hell is driving this vehicle. Whereas now I know immediately what squad is going to be driving what vehicle. So that's a good quality of life change. I really do appreciate this one, because right now, if I'm trying to get a logi run or try to get communicate with a vehicle and tell them the enemy vehicle is somewhere, it's just a hassle trying to get that vehicle on the comms. Now here's the biggest thing. The British forces, right? As you can see, they've added the L85 is in game. It's all fully modeled. It's got the bipod. It's got the new scope on it for the Brits. So a lot of cool stuff coming with the British forces update. They're saying that it's pretty much ready for gameplay. So hopefully we see it soon. But as you can see, it's all fully modeled. Animation systems are rigged up. You got that cool new SUSAT scope for the L85. And I think it's going to be awesome to have a new faction and breathe, another form of life into squad. Because we've been playing with the same 4 factions since the beginning of squad. Since day one, it's been the same 4 factions. And adding the Brits, I feel, would add a lot more variability into the gameplay and kind of make the replayability of this game even better. So all the cool new items and weapons, the new rifle here, new Logi or transport truck for the Brits, right? So a lot of cool stuff, right? They added the sharpshooter rifle. This isn't modeled in yet or textured or anything yet, but it is, gameplay wise in. So hopefully we see this soon. I really need this. You can also see here they changed the driving UI a little bit, which is all right. I don't know. I feel like this looks a little gamey to me. Looks a little arcadey, but oh well. I guess it's important to have. Shows you the tilt of the vehicle, the incline, and your speed. So I guess that's pretty cool. All right, so another huge update. Improved vehicle damage model. They're going with a realistic armor penetration system, where the angle of the hit, the caliber, and the area that you hit the vehicle matters, right? So front armor, side armor, top armor, turret armor, right? Those are all going to have different thicknesses that can be penetrated by different rounds and explosives, right? So, for example, on the Striker, the front armor on the Striker will not be able to get penetrated by the 14.5 millimeter cannon on the MTLBs and BTRs. You're going to have to hit in the side. And that's a huge gameplay change. Just thinking about having to, acknowledge where you need to hit shots on the vehicle. It opens up vehicle combat so much more, because now you can play around, flanking vehicles, and you can play around, angling them the proper direction. And vehicles are going to be able to have this really cool fight mechanic, rather than just, all right, just pour shots into this guy. Just keep shooting him until he blows up. Just do that, because that's what it is right now. It's just, all right, just lat him, just hit him, just shoot him. Just throw rounds into him. Whereas now it's going to be like, okay, we got to get around behind this BTR. Okay, draw this BTR in the open so we can flank him from the rear. And I think it's going to be really cool. And hopefully, what I'm hoping is as they do this, they decrease the amount of damage that they can take. Because right now, the vehicles in squad take a ridiculous amount of damage. They take like 4 lat shots to kill a Striker. I hope that with the increased damage model and the increased detail on that model, they're able to also bring down the health. Because I think 4 lats on a Striker is way too many. I think 3 lats on a BTR is just ridiculous. What I would like to see, in addition to this vehicle damage model, is also like things that affect how fast maybe the turret moves, or how fast the treads move, right? So if you hit it in the tires, maybe it slows down. If you hit it in the turret, maybe the turret slows down. And stuff like that, where you have variable kind of damage systems on the vehicle. Not just a damage model based on armor penetration and angle and weapon type, but like actually affecting the vehicle as well. Because that would be really cool, because then you could disable vehicles, get a maneuverability kill, right? And stuff like that. So that would be really cool to see. But, that's like War Thunder level vehicle mechanics, and it is squad. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But you can see here how there's like different areas on the vehicle that take different amount of damages. So it's really cool that they're doing it based on angle, the area that you hit the vehicle, and the type of weapon system that you hit the vehicle with. So yeah, cool stuff. The front of the Striker is going to be impenetrable to 14.5. That's really cool, because that's going to give the Strikers an edge over the BTRs even more, which will make them really fun to use. So, let's see what else. They do plan to have impact effects and audio reflect where the penetration has occurred. So right? Just audio, so they don't have to add like hit markers or anything like that, because that would, I don't think they'd ever do that. But, adding those kind of visual and audio cues so that what kind of damage has been done or what kind of damage you have dealt to a vehicle. That's really important as well. So it does look like this is the beginning of a deeper system that will later be expanded into damaging critical internal systems on vehicles, such as engines, in addition to damage on separate components like track, wheels, and turrets. So cool. Hopefully we get it like remotely soon, right? Like within 6 months, please? Maybe? I don't know. Maybe that's too much to ask for. But like that's what I really want, because seeing a Striker just drive by full speed after taking a lat shot kind of bugs me. Or seeing it take like 3 lat shots and be like at 10% health and still operating 100% is still a weird thing to deal with. They're adding in the TOW, which is a wire-guided AT missile, which is really, really cool, because now you have a very long-range infantry-based counter to vehicles that is not just another vehicle, right? Because right now the main long-range counter to vehicles is another vehicle. The BTR counter Strikers, so on and so forth, back and forth. Lats are really not effective on a moving target or even a stationary target past 300 just because it's so hard to hit reliably. So outside of 300, lats have a harder time, which means that any vehicle posted up like at 500 or even out to 800 on some maps can really chew stuff up. So seeing the tow with the wire guided for distance is going to be awesome. SPGs are kind of good, but you can't see jack with that scope. With that sight, it's a one-time sight, so it's impossible to hit stuff far too. Weapon emplacement optics upgrade. This is very much needed because a lot of the 50 cals, the NSV, the M2A1, the SPG, all these weapon systems that you can put down on fobs, these emplacements, they just turn into bullet magnets because you're just sat there. You have 1 times zoom on your weapon, and you're going up against ACOGs and other scope people who are going to just naturally outrange you because you can't see them. So having the ability to scope in with these weapons, I think, is going to give them a lot more use. Because right now you very rarely see emplaced turrets or emplaced MGs used effectively just because they're bullet magnets, right? It's so easy to kill people off of these. Whether this is OP, whether this will be OP is yet to be seen. I mean, like, looking at it, right? All these are coming with their own rangefinders, right? So they're gonna be accurate. Like, you're gonna be able to hit stuff like we see with the Elcan already. With the Elcan saw, right? You can hit stuff at the 600 with that saw accurately because that sight and those rangefinders are just so good. Those holdovers are so accurate and they're so easy to use. So whether or not these become like incredibly overpowered is yet to be seen, but it's definitely 100% gonna make these a ton easier to use and a ton more effective. We'll see if they get to the OP level though, because geez, man, having these holdovers, especially on this M2A1, like if it works anything near as accurate as the Elcan, this thing is gonna be disgusting to deal with, right? All right. Updates on maps, Camdish Highlands. Like we talked about this before, I really like this map for 2 reasons. One, it doesn't have any compounds. It has sparse building structures, but it doesn't have any like concrete huge cities and stuff. I hate cities. I just hate urban fighting just because it's so without building destructibility or ways to damage people inside. It just turns into like this room clearing nightmare. So I like the semi-open maps with like small little tiny 1-story buildings or hamlets and stuff. So it's really cool to see Camdish Highlands because I really like the aesthetic of this map. Like it's very open. There's trees, there's rocks, there's a couple rock walls and buildings, but it's not like incredibly open and it's not incredibly packed with buildings. So I can't wait to play this. I think this will be one of my favorite maps. But yeah, you can see all that new stuff in here right now. See that new set. So that's gonna be really cool. Camdash looks like it's gonna be one of my favorite maps. It to me, I feel like it's gonna play kind of like a flat Kohat, just because it looks like a flat Kohat, which is good because Kohat gets a lot of play over a lot of the map, more so than I think any other map. So really cool stuff. Kohat's getting an expansion as well. Speak of Kohat, so you can see this whole prefab base has kind of been expanded. He got the helipads in anticipation for helos. But I really love Kohat. Kohat's one of my favorite maps. Just because you get so much play over the whole map. Because it's so open and there's so few building compounds. There's no like skyscrapers or like 7 stories you have to deal with. It's just a solid map. I love Kohat a lot. But yeah, expanding it looks really good. And then they talked about the StackUp.org veteran kind of charity event that they did, which was cool. They got to get them to animate and stuff, so that was really fun to see. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff. Once again, the highlights being the map update, the HMG and the emplacement optics, the vehicle damage system, right? That's awesome. This is some War Thunder level fucking shit. So this is gonna be real fun to use in game because it's gonna add a lot of depth to the vehicle play. Whereas right now it's just shoot it, right? That's it. It's just put rounds in it, just shoot it till it blows up. And now it's gonna be like, oh shit, we gotta move, we gotta flank it, we gotta reverse or whatever. And then the Brits, right? So cool stuff coming up. Can't wait to see it. And it's gonna be a fun year for Squad, I think, with the Helos, Brits. There's a lot of content coming out now that they got the animation stuff out of the way. redoing all that coding. Like, I think we're gonna see a lot of content coming out here soon from OWI because they spent the last year working on, setting everything up for it. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys are as excited as I am. Let me know what you are most excited about. I want to hear what you guys are looking forward to in this update or in this recap the most. And let me know what you'd like to see in the comments below. And I'll see you guys all in the next video.